It is good to have you back. If you're just joining us, this is Firecrackers, and we're about to talk about managing Nigeria's insecurity. So now I would like to call on Yinka Ogunsonya. You know, one of the criticisms that the president is facing right now is that we have so much on our hands right now. Rather than sending more soldiers to Niger, why not focus, why not look inwards into our security issues and try to resolve that first? But if you would give an assessment of Nigeria's security, how would you rate it?
But sorry, I was mute. These guys are great soldiers, and they're very brave. Um, but the issue here, I think, are threefold for me. I've been assessing Nigerian security for about 10 years now. I've actually delved and focused on it. Number one is government intent. Do we have the intent to actually secure Nigeria, or there are political interest that's been served in many quarters? We have to figure that out, because one, you cannot win or contain an insurgency if our border is so porous that we don't know what goes in, what comes out. Two, these guys buy heavy machineries, weapons, vehicles, so there's money movement. Where are the digital footprint of this money? Somebody knows something. Obviously, Sheikh Gumi knows where they live because he's always talking to them, acting as intermediary between the government and terrorists. So my thing is, are we ready to provide the purpose and direction to actually do it, or we're just talking on TV about doing it? To do it, you have to come with economic approach as well. Most of these areas, they recruit young men to be insurgents based on lack of economic opportunity. Same template that's been played by the Taliban in Afghanistan is what is going rampage in the northern part of Nigeria. That the border has to be locked down. The border patrol system has to be in place. Everything that crosses in and out has to be documented. Area surveillance. I don't know why we don't want to do extensive area surveillance. It's easy to find these guys. They're not ghosts, they're human beings. And we have to, we have this big budget for our defense systems. Are those money actually getting down to the hands of the people that actually need it, the soldiers on the ground? I've seen some of the soldiers, they're kids. I mean, it's nothing to write home. You can be a brave guy, but if the enemy has a better weapon, better maneuver system than you already at a loss. So the biggest thing here, does our government have the intent, and are they willing to listen to people that have experience with insurgency? Because I understand we have great generals and officers in Nigeria, but how many of them have faced insurgency? It's just been, big promotion up and down the ranks, peacekeeping mission around ECOWAS. You have to be on the ground fighting insurgency to know how insurgency works. Insurgency is not conventional warfare where you just go there and shoot. You have to win souls, mind, and heart. And you have to do it economically, psychologically, and militarily. Just send a bunch of troops to shoot people, create more insurgents, because they get upset, they get mad, they have sympathy for themselves, and they will enlist to fight because somebody in their family was just killed. So we have to provide economic plan of developing those areas to give people options that insurgency doesn't look lucrative to them because they get paid. That's the livelihood. Those guys, they get paid, and somebody is funding it. It baffles me how we can figure out who is funding insurgency. So my banking experts, there's wire transactions going back and forth from somewhere. We need to track it down, lock it down, and surround them and cut them off from the supply. You cut down supply, logistics, communication, insurgency will be out of Nigeria quick.
Okay, all right. We really thank you so much for your submission. And now to Kanila Wal. From the coup that happened in Niger, what lesson do you think Nigeria as a country could learn from it? Perhaps in dealing with our neighbors better or in preventing such from happening in our country?
Well, thank you. You see, you need to situate what breeds insecurity. First, you need to know that if people are not socially secured, there is tendency for insecurity all over the place. So the government of Nigeria must invest in the economic viability of individuals and the nation itself. Let me give you an example of this coup. When I said earlier on that the African group, we have not been able, to attack the root cause of some of these coup d'etat. All of them can be traced to both social and economic insecurity of the people affected. You find that each time there is a coup in any country, one of the reasons they give is about the disenchantment of people about the situation of things. As such, I believe that Africa as a group, you must go into the nitty-gritty of what is breeding insecurity for the people that is leading to this military coup. For instance, there is a 11-point agreement between these ECOWAS countries between this French ECOWAS country with France. Those 11 points are purely, knee on the neck of these people, that we have a right to your natural resources, the right of forced refusal, and then we will determine how you sell it. No, all these things are pure injustice, which the United Nations Charter itself is against. That people who live in the particular territory have the right to enjoy the benefits of the natural resources of that territory. Why is Africa still dragging feet in going into the nitty-gritty of what breeds insecurity that leads to coup and counter-coup every time? In Nigerian Foreign Policy Trust, we have what is called economic decolonization, economic emancipation of the African people. When have we actually, deploy this, in all fora, to come up with a blueprint whereby France should be deterred. France should be asked, even though it wields a veto power, we should get other veto power to rally behind us and demand that France should remove its knees from the neck of these Francophone countries. These are the root causes of all these problems, because people are dissatisfied. You get insecurity from everywhere. So we must also fight for economic decolonization of Africa. And I believe from there, people can have the destiny, their own destiny in their own hand, not being dictated to by anybody. So this is a lesson I think we in Nigeria will have to learn, and it comes down to even individuals. We must ensure the security of individual, the security of group. Therefore, we say democracy. Democracy is about prosperity for the generality of people. But when the generality of people are in abject poverty, then some forces will have to come up to say, we are going to fight for you. Then you find them coming up in terms of coup and things like that, in terms of revolution. Is that what we want? If we don't want that, then we have to address the nitty-gritty of what breeds insecurity. Thank you.
Thank you very
Ma'am,
much. And
if you don't
over
mind,
to Ankyo Briggs. A lot of brilliant minds have said that the reason insecurity persists in Nigeria is because of poverty, because of injustice, marginalization. And since it is what it is and it is what we have on ground right now, what steps do you think we could take to remedy this so that Nigeria can be safe and secured?
Who is the
can I,
question? Is that for me?
can I take a quick stab
Okay, do you need me
at
to
that? I
repeat
just
the
want to quickly,
question?
I want to
What I
respond real
said
quick.
earlier is that one of the things that lots of brilliant minds have said is the cause of insecurity in Nigeria is injustice, poverty, and marginalization. And since that is what we have on ground right now, what steps do you recommend that we take to make sure that Nigeria is safe and secured?
You don't need any rocket science to know what steps to be taken. In Nigeria, poverty has been weaponized
This time. So, and
of lifestyle and things like that. So you don't need any rocket science to know what you need to do to remove marginalization, poverty, which are all as a result of either religious intolerance or cultural affinity, corruption here and there. Once you are able to remove that, then you have resolved the problem. You have resolved the problem of poverty. Because if everybody has a better lifestyle, and you are able to checkmate people, it is a rule that if you are corrupt, you will be arrested, and then you will be punished for it. The people will stop corruption. It's very simple.
My
to
take on
Dr.
this is two
Olorunda. You
approach.
know, the former president
I will.
has been accused quite openly that the reason he did not take a decisive step about insecurity, most especially in north central parts of Nigeria and some other parts of Nigeria too that are plagued with insecurity, especially the one of armed herders attack, is probably because of his ethnic affiliation with this group of people involved. Now that we have a new government, we have a new president, a different tribe, do you see things changing in, well, the administration is not even up to 100 days, but do you see things changing in the near future?
Definitely things have to change, and I'm not one person who believe that the last president the former president didn't take enough. I think don't forget that we are fighting insurgency, and like the retired major said, it's very difficult to fight. And people think it's something that you can just win, you just go and shoot people. No, insurgency is very difficult to fight anywhere. Some countries fight it, they've been fighting it, like Sudan, and every other part, they've been in it for years. So insurgency is not as easy as with most Nigerians think. And you know, the Nigerian army is not the president. The president is just the commander-in-chief of commander-in-chief. So it's going to, this Nigerian army are the ones that are fighting, Nigerian forces, and the security agencies are the ones fighting. So when you commit the commanders to go and do the job, and you give them equipment, and I know that even when he was there was a lot of restructuring of the military architecture in the country. I mean, new equipment were acquired, and we're able to, the fact that we're able to conduct election in all parts of Nigeria. You remember that in 2015 or 2014, the election had to be delayed for like 3 months because there are some parts of the country that were held by the insurgents. So, and we needed 3 months to do the clearance and before we can do, but in 2019 we were able to do our election as scheduled, same in 2023. So there have been gradual improvement, and I'm sure even now there will be even more improvement with the new change of guards and the new people that are there who want to prove their worth and show that they merit the positions and all of that. So we continue to improve in our fight against insurgencies.
Okay, all right. And now this question goes to Ankyo Briggs. What advice would you give the Nigerian government at this time concerning handling the security threats that we're having?
In Nigeria?
Okay, I don't know if you need me to repeat the question, but what advice would you
No,
give
I
to
heard
the government at this time to address all the security threats we're having?
Well, I mean, the Nigerian government does not need security advice from anybody. It has the president is the commander in chief. He has all the heads of all the arms of the military. We have been facing insurgents for the past decade and a half. Our borders are very, very porous. We have what do you call them? ISIS. We have the people they told us are spilling in from Afghanistan, if you like, Algeria, all kinds of places. The government needs to take responsibility to protect the nation Nigeria. And they cannot run away from the fact that in Nigeria, as in other African countries, we have governments of ethnicity and we have governments of religion. Now, every government has had to face, if you like, this problem. And until they actually come to the realization of what their responsibilities are to Nigerians and to Nigeria, we will continue to have this situation. During the time of Buhari, we had an open Sisane. I mean, everybody was free to come in and go as they like. Now we're told that we have Tinubu, the borders are closed down. Well, it is very difficult to close down the borders that are bordering so many other countries that Niger and others are involved in. Quite honestly, in my opinion, and being involved in this discussion for so long, both the military and the federal government, whatever the federal government is, they have failed woefully in containing the insurgencies, the insecurity, whether it is in the north, whether it is in any other part of Nigeria. They have failed woefully. Now, how they are going to go about it, whether they're going to get advisors to come in from outside and advise them, because personally, I do not think so far that Nigeria has the capacity. They've been fighting this for so long, and the thing has moved in so far down south that we have
for joining us on the program, but fortunately we are running out of time. My sincere gratitude to Dr. Felix Olorunda, public affairs analyst. Many thanks for being with us today. And retired U.S. Major Yinka Ogunsonya, who joined us live from United States of America. Many thanks for being on the show. And Ambassador Gani Lawal, who joined us live from Lagos. And Ankyo Briggs, who joined us live from Port Harcourt. Many, many thanks to you guys for joining us on the show. And it is indeed my pleasure to be with you on the show, but unfortunately, we have to draw the curtain close on today's episode of Firecrackers. My name is Iriba Misalako. See you same time, same station next week. To have a great week ahead. Goodbye.